Hello and welcome to World Business. In today's programme, we turn our attention to the next generation of climate action, led not by governments or corporations, but by young innovators pushing the boundaries of technology and resilience. Our guest today is Ceyhun Ojan, the founder of XClimate, a youth-led global platform bringing together artificial intelligence, climate science and public health. With projects showcased at the United Nations, TEDx and youth coalitions in more than 25 countries, XClimate is building real-time resilience tools for communities at the front line of climate-related health risks. So today we'll discuss the power of innovation, the importance of inclusion, and the urgent need for resilience in the face of global climate challenges. Well, joining me now is Ceyhun Ojan. Ceyhun, thank you very much for joining us. Good to see you. Tell us about this then, exciting project. Where did the inspiration, the origins for XClimate come from?
Yes, definitely. So I can introduce myself first, I guess. So I am a Dartmouth College student, majoring in biomedical engineering, class of 27. I am founder of climate change, like XClimate, but I started as a youth activist when I was like 15. I worked with like maybe more than 3,000 people in 25 countries. That gave me a chance to talk at the TEDx. And when I was talking at the like different stages, I realized there is something missing. We were talking about the climate change as an emergency crisis, when the reality is also the health emergency. Health stress, asthma, anxiety, poor sleep, like I feel every day, and the Gen Z feels it every day. That's why I founded XClimate, to turn climate anxiety into the resilience.
Very interesting. Climate anxiety transforming into resilience. How does AI, climate science, public health, how does it all come together? Because these are obviously huge areas of work in their own right. And one of the things that your solution is doing is bringing them all together, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. So you can think of like XClimate as a Fitbit for your climate health resilience. So we give you a daily CHR score. It's basically climate health resilience score based on your environmental and the health inputs. So then based on that, you go through your SMS or like app notifications. We provide simple science-based coaching, and it's gonna be like breathing exercises or like high pollution days. You can like get like hydration reminders or like many things like that based on your inputs. So it's like basically personal, real time, and designed to be easy as checking your weather app.
Very interesting indeed. And of course, you mentioned some of the difficulties that many people have. Many regions in the world struggle with access, don't they? How does digital accessibility then fit into your vision?
Yeah, so major issues at the climate change, I guess, at the south of the global. So global south has like, they usually have smartphones, or even they don't have a smartphones, they have that reach to the SMS services. So if you have just a phone that reach the SMS services, connected with the XClimate, you don't need to be using like high tech technology. So that's our purposes right now, to be connect with everyone.
And this element of emotional resilience, that I think will resonate with many young people, climate anxiety. There are those who will be quite dismissive of it, but just explain a bit more about what's going on here. It's more than just looking at the news and feeling worried, isn't it?
Yeah, so most of the climate apps or the health apps out there is like basically, so you can use like one of those, not, it's like not combined. So the climate change is like, you need to be thinking about like the health system and the environmental issues together. So it's climate health into the one system. So it's like basically I am a Gen Z, so that's why I am building this one, and I can understand my generation. It's like basically designed to be viral and accessible and emotionally engaging. Our motto is like basically very simple. So don't just track the climate, build resilience. So we need to be connected with everyone.
And do you think, Jayon, that innovation might be almost the new frontier for climate activism in a way? You know, we've all seen the protests, the demonstrations, but actually, are you getting a sense that Gen Z, younger people, are starting to divert their energy into actually building things, building solutions as well?
Yeah, so we are in the age of the AI boom, so everyone is using the AI, and the climate change is one of the past topics we were dealing with. And climate change is not 2015, so everyone is dealing with that, and like we need to be focusing on is like basically your heartbeat, your breathe, and your stress at today, not just like the future. Yes, definitely we can use AI, but we need to be focusing on more like today, what we can do.
And is the solution only for young people? I mean, I'm approaching 50. Would there be any benefit that I could get out of interacting with it?
Yeah, so the issue is like health is the bridge we have right now. So you might not feel connected with the melting glaciers, but you definitely feel the heat wave or like pollution when you run, or anxiety about for your child or like for anyone you have together in your family or like any pet you have. So by farming climate change through health, we make it like personal and urgent. That's how you turn awareness in and how you can connect if it's not Gen Z, like everyone can be like get together and like understand what we are dealing with.
And I suppose data is an important part of this because at every one of these touch points, you're collecting data on the link between health, anxiety, and climate change.
Yeah, I am working at the psychological research lab at the Dartmouth, so I understand how data is important, and we are gathering all the open source data at the WHO or like other UN sources we have, and after that, in the like startup is goes through, and we will get like many different like contracts. That's gonna be is like useful for the purposes and like providing the more better like personal usage.
And you know, on this incredible journey you've been on so far, you've been able to present at the United Nations, at TEDx. What has the international response to XClimate been like?
So, like you said, I attend like TEDx at the like United Nations World Economic Forum. So we talk about like policy, what we can do, and what the like policy shapers can do. But at the TEDx, we share ideas. We understand how we can understand each other. But I saw like the missing part is like people weren't treating health resilience as a part of the climate story. That's why X Climate fills the gap. It's like translate big climate talk into the personal health action for everyday people.
Translating the talk into action for everyday people. And how does AI, I mean, everyone's talking about AI at the moment, how does AI help with that process in a very practical sense?
Yeah, in practical sense, I can just give you just basically we are building the iMessage of the climate health. It's like personal, viral, and real time. It's basically you are gonna be text and say, so how I feel today is basically IPO I have is like very high right now, and the climate is like very bad at my city right now. So you can understand through iMessage. You don't need to do like anything. The AI is basically help us to improve the iMessage system we have.
And on your growth journey as the business grows, the organization grows, obviously you've been partnering with many other organizations around the world. Tell us about some of those partnerships and the ones that have been the most impactful so far.
Yeah, definitely. So I was a delegate at the One Young World. It helped me like really. So that helped me gather like many people together to the X climate. So I get like many people understand how they are dealing with the climate change or like United Nations. They help me to how I can engage with the policy paper like or like how the policy shapers are doing. So other organizations basically so helping me to understand what I can do today for tomorrow.
Very interesting. And finally, Jayan, what's next for XClimate then? How can communities and organizations watching this get involved?
So in the short term, I want to help young people like me manage climate anxiety and daily health stress. Imagine a student getting a text from XClimate saying, air pollution is high today. Here is a 2-minute breathing exercise. That small actions build resilience. In the long term, I want governments to adopt the CHR score, the public health metric. So resilience became a standard. So not just like individual choice, and governments can take action based on that.
Very interesting. An app to tackle climate anxiety, utilising AI, fascinating stuff. Jayan, thank you very much indeed for joining us on World Business.
Thank you, Guy.
Let's now take a look at some other business news that was made this week.
Post offices and package shippers around the world are preparing for a huge shake-up in how they send items to the US. The country's exemption from tariffs for packages valued below $800 ends on Friday, and administration officials say that is a permanent change. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro said the move would raise revenue and help stem the flow of fentanyl into the country. From now on, the US will collect normal duty rates on all shipments. However, during a 6-month transition period, shippers can opt to pay a flat duty of between $80 to $200, depending on the country of origin. The lower rate applies to places where Donald Trump has imposed duties below 16%, like the UK and EU. The top rate applies to countries where he has imposed tariffs above 25%, including China, India and Canada. It all means a huge shake-up for many firms and for online shoppers too. The so-called de minimis tariff exemption had been in place since 1938 and was raised to $800 in 2015 as a way to foster growth for small businesses on e-commerce marketplaces. It helped drive explosive growth for Chinese online retailers like Temu and Shein. That in turn generated huge business for parcel carriers like FedEx and UPS. Now they will have to collect the duties and process the paperwork for the tariffs. Some postal services around the world have suspended shipments to the US ahead of the change, while they work to adapt to the new rules. Postal groups in Japan, South Korea, Australia and many European countries are among those to stop accepting packages.
A British company's novel use of AI could revolutionise manufacturing. It says it has the solution to the US's labour and skills shortage, and as a focus on revitalising US manufacturing intensifies, it's attracting attention from the country's firms. Cloud NC chief Theo Saville is pioneering the technology to transform computer numerical control, or CNC, machining. It's a critical process used to program machinery to create specific parts for industries ranging from automotive to nuclear to healthcare.
Cloud NC is an AI company that builds software that tells metal-cutting robots how to carve blocks of metal into useful shapes for industry, which is something that is done to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars around the world every year. Literally everything that is made, the things you hold, the planes you fly in, the submarines under the sea, those products all start in a machine that looks like that. And our software makes it much, much easier to run and control these machines.
Traditionally, CNC machining has relied on outdated software, despite its importance. It requires skilled operators, an increasingly scarce resource, to program these machines manually with thousands of instructions. Saville says Cloud NC's technology cuts manufacturing times by approximately 80%, and that it provides a viable solution to the skills gap confronting the industry.
So the problem that we have in the West is not enough people to run these machines, and that problem gets worse every single year. It got a lot worse when the Liberation Day tariffs said we're going to bring $30 billion worth of machining back from China alone into the USA. But where are the people to make that thing? We can't train them fast enough, it takes years. So the only way to fill the gap is with software that makes the people that we have able to produce more things.
As tariffs take effect, Cloud NC says its technology has already helped more than 100 US manufacturers and that it's poised for substantial growth.
From how Nvidia raked in cash but still underwhelmed investors, to why Donald Trump has India on his target list, this is the week in numbers. Up to $4 trillion is Nvidia's estimate for global spending on AI infrastructure by 2030. But shares in the chip giant still fell, not helped by a tepid outlook for the coming quarter that excluded all predictions for Chinese sales. Morningstar strategist Brian Colello says that leaves investors with questions.
China is certainly the wild card today on whether they'll be allowed to sell, if so, which sort of products, even if they are allowed to sell by the US, will China be receptive? Will the Chinese government be receptive? There are a lot of questions.
Up to 50% is now the tariff on many Indian exports to the US. That's after Donald Trump put an extra 25% levy on the country as punishment for its continued buying of Russian oil. The US says those purchases are helping to fund Moscow's war on Ukraine. Around $330 billion is the valuation TikTok owner ByteDance has put on itself. That's according to Reuters sources, who say the number comes in a planned share buyback for employees. It's still far below the $1.9 trillion value put on Facebook owner Meta, with analysts saying the difference comes down to uncertainty over TikTok's future in the US. $18 billion is the price to create a new drinks giant. That's how much Keurig Dr Pepper will pay to buy Dutch coffee company JDE Peet's. Analysts say the combined firm will have the heft to challenge market leader Nestlé in the global coffee business. And just over $5.4 billion was the record first-half sales number hit by Lego. The Danish toymaker was boosted by tie-ups with brands including Formula One and Jurassic Park. Lego also looks better insulated from US tariffs than rivals Hasbro and Mattel, which are more dependent on Chinese factories.
Well, that is all for this edition of World Business. We've heard from Jehan Ojan about the pioneering work of XClimate and the new wave of youth-driven innovation tackling climate and health challenges head-on. From AI-powered solutions to emotional resilience, this is a reminder that climate action is no longer tomorrow's problem, it's today's responsibility. From all of us here at A News, thanks for being with us.